Huge opportunity for Spence. Spence very methodical in the early going, varying his jab upstairs and also downstairs. Leonard Bundu, his only loss came at the hands of the welterweight champion Keith Thurman a couple years ago, and Bundu loading up on that left hand over the top. There are a lot of people who have high hopes and believe that Errol Spence can be the future. Everything is looking very good so far, as he was named on many different media platforms as the 2015 Prospect of the Year. He's hoping that this year he will turn himself into a contender, and with this fight he can very well do so if he's able to get past Leonard Bundu. And a nice left hand that came right over the top as Spence continues to mix in his jab. Bundu coming forward. Good action so far here in this first round as we are under a minute remaining. For Bundu, he is an 11-year pro. Only had 2 draws during the course of his career and 1 defeat. And Spence with a sweeping right hook that caught Leonard Bundu. And now Bundu goes back to the conventional stance. Nice jab again to the midsection as Errol Spence tries to take out the steam out of Bundu. And that's the end of the first round. Errol Spence and Leonard Bundu headed to the second round. In the corner for Errol Spence is his trainer, Derek James.
Shit, thanks, Kelly.
Back here still at the Ford Amphitheater in Coney Island, New York for PBC Premier Boxing Champions. At the end of the first round, I have Errol Spence ahead on my scorecard. For Leonard Bundu, this is his 3rd fight here in the United States, as he fought twice, once in 2014 and once in 2015 here in the States. Most recently, his stateside victory, Pablo Munguia, back on June 26th of last year. And Spence continues to move around the ring beautifully, utilizing his terrific boxing acumen. Spence understands what a huge victory this would be, as jumping in with a wild hook was Bundu, but Spence keeps him at bay with that jab. With Spence, he is a very focused and determined young man, 26 years of age. He's a family man. He has a daughter, Ivy, who's not even a year old, and he states that his motivation comes from providing her a better life and doing what he can to make sure that she can have an unbelievable upbringing. Bundu aiming to go downstairs, and it seems like Bundu's trying to figure out and throw Errol Spence off. He's gone from conventional to southpaw, and now he's back to the southpaw position. He goes back to conventional as he's trying to get into the mind of Errol Spence, but that's not flustering the 2012 Olympian whatsoever. And that was a slip, as referee in charge Johnny Callis immediately ruled it a slip.
Don't punch.
90 seconds remaining in the second round. For Leonard Bundu, he has fought the majority of his career in Italy. His 11-year career has been spent overseas in Italy. He's had a couple of fights, 2 fights in the UK, 1 fight in Germany, and this is his 3rd fight stateside. But predominantly, he has been successful out in his native With Spence, he has such a high guard because he realizes that hook is going to come in for Bundu. And Bundu got to Spence a little bit. But again, that jab, it is a piston-like jab for Errol Spence. He continues to double it up, and then right behind it is that straight left down the middle. And Bundu has brought some fans from Italy for, as you can hear in the background. Johnny Callis warning Bundu to not come in with that, and that's a veteran move, to be honest with you. When you've been in the game for over a decade, and now Bundu having some success momentarily. Bundu mixing in his variation as he goes again back to the southpaw position. Bundu realizes he's got to make this a rough and tumble affair and take Spence into waters that maybe he hasn't been in. But Spence trying to finish out the round with a little bit of a flurry as they're exchanging here in Coney Island. As we once again listen into the corner of Errol Spence. And here we see more of Errol Spence as Bundu coming in and mixing it up, throwing some shots at close distance as Spence tries to evade the pressure. This is the third round, scheduled for 12. This is an eliminator fight, so the winner of this fight will be the mandatory to Kell Brook. Now, Brook obviously has some business to attend to against Gennady Golovkin on September 10th, and now Bundu throws a combination, but he gets blasted with a straight left right down the middle. As Spence wearing the gold and the blue, wearing the red and the white is Bundu. As I have Errol Spence ahead of my scorecards 2-0, but Bundu did have some glimpses there in the second round. And Errol Spence understands the kind of ferocity and tenacity that Bundu exhibits in the course of his fight. And he realizes he cannot fall asleep whatsoever. Spence getting warmed up though. A jab followed by that straight left that is connecting for the DeSoto, Texas native. And Bundu comes in and clips Errol Spence and goes downstairs to the body. But back comes Spence again with that jab. It is fundamentals 101 for Errol Spence. Here we see Errol Spence has connected on 26 of 46 power punches through the third round. That is over 50%. Bundu is under 25%. And a shot as Bundu loads up. But when Bundu loads up, Spence gets out of the way immediately.
Right.
One minute left in this third round as Leonard Bundu continues to go from conventional to southpaw. To be honest with you, I don't think he has an idea. He's trying to mix up his attack, but at a certain point, you're going to have to go with what you feel is going to be successful. As Spence has been throwing a plethora of jabs and then to lay in that straight left, and he mixes up the uppercut there, now goes to the body, does Errol Spence. 30 seconds left in the third round. Spence was trying to connect on that uppercut as Bundu rushes in, so he is there to be tagged with that uppercut. 10 seconds remaining in the third round. Similar story, Spence with his jab and then the straight left down the middle. And now we're starting to see the uppercut out of the 2012 United States Olympian. It is all Errol Spence so far through 3.
But keep your stick up, so mix it up. Pop it on the inside, so back out boxing. Make it reach, you getting frustrated because you can't get close. Can't get close. Keep popping the stick, listen. You go right up higher, I need it up higher. Quanto più efficace, da più vicino, ancora meglio. Dai, Leo. Sta sempre i centimetri dietro. Vieni qui, te tu sei qui. Boom, 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 boom. Dai, accorcia a piccoli pazzettini. Boom, boom, questo lavoro.
Coming up on the 4th round, scheduled for 12, Errol Spence and Leonard Bundu going head-to-head here in Coney Island. What a beautiful venue, what a great atmosphere. The fans here are amazing, and they are being treated to a terrific performance so far with Errol Spence, as Spence connected and landed a shot right on the top of the temple of Bundu as Bundu was coming in, and it seemed like he was slipping but also got caught. And now Bundu willing to load up, but he gets lit up with a shot to the body, compliments of Errol Spence. Spence again measuring Leonard Bundu, has him at the end of his punches. Spence is using every bit of that reach advantage that he possesses. If you were to go ahead and draw up the body type for a welterweight, I don't think it gets much better than Errol Spence in terms of how he's lean, he's powerful, he gets a lot of leverage behind his punches, and he's very smart inside the ring. And Bundu is more than willing to make this a rough and tumble affair, but he's getting caught at close distance. And Spence with that sledgehammer of the left hand, now the uppercut that backs up Bundu momentarily. And now referee in charge, Johnny Callis, wants a momentary...
Go corner.
The mouthpiece is out, so that is why we have the stoppage.
Make it quick. You don't have another one? Make it quick.
And they have the spare mouthpiece, they rinse it off.
Hey, come on over. Hey.
And Johnny Callis gets him back to the neutral corner as we resume this 4th round. And a nice shot. They are both mixing it up. And now Bundu, he's trying to come and catch something that he can connect with. But in the process, Spence is breaking him down with the jab, and he's mixing up his attack, going to the body. As you can see out of Leonard Bundu, out of Italy, he's not coming with as much forward aggression as he was in the first couple rounds of the fight. That is largely in part to the body attack of Errol Spence. And Spence, a laser straight left with precision. To be able to mix in, and we're seeing Spence throw that left hand to the chest as well. These are all veteran moves on behalf of Spence. Spence realizes he wants to be among the upper echelon of the welterweight division, as we see what Errol Spence has been able to do. Punches through 34% connect percentage compared to 26% for Bundu, and Spence has been active as he's thrown almost 300 punches as we near the close of round number 4. If you're Bundu's kind of jumping in wildly. It would advise him to throw a jab and try to get underneath the jab of Errol Spence. And that's the end of round 4.
Tell you that trell is slow.
I gotta give it to them.
The 5th round scheduled for 12. As Errol Spence is averaging 9 jabs per round. The welterweight average is 5 jabs per round. Thanks to our friends over at CompuBox for that information, helping to take care of us here in Coney Island. So Errol Spence, it is fundamentals. Many times you see fighters that love to load up on power shots, but Errol Spence, everything comes off the jab, and we're seeing the jab followed by that very quick left hand, and we're also witnessing Spence utilize that uppercut as Bundu comes in with the reckless abandon, and the distance that Spence has is something to admire. Rather than a beautiful straight left that connected, momentarily rocking Spence, but Spence continues to go to work. With Spence, he's taking a couple of shots from Leonard Bundu,
Keep it clean.
and
Watch the headlock.
the
Come on, keep it clean.
chin of Errol Spence has held up quite nicely. And now they're swinging for the fences is Bundu, but he still cannot get on the inside of Errol Spence. You know, Spence is a very proud family man, as a girlfriend and his daughter Ivy, his mother and father have been married for close to 30 years. As his parents have been to him. It's just over a minute remaining in this round as Errol Spence is having his way with Leonard Bundu. For Errol Spence, it is his desire to be, categorized amongst the top of the heap in the welterweight division, likes of Keith Thurman, Sean Porter, Danny Garcia. And Spence with a nice right hook to the body out of Leonard Bundu, and that is like investing, putting money in your savings account, because down the line you can go back to that and cash it in. Especially as Bundu, he is not as active and applying the forward pressure as he was. And this is that we aren't even done with the first half of the fight. A lot of arm punches by Bundu, whereas Spence is gaining a variety and a lot of leverage behind his punches. Final stages of the 5th round. Errol Spence continues to connect on punches as he is having his way with Leonard Bundu. Coming up the 6th round. On my data. I'm on the data. I don't think so. Next round scheduled for 12 with Errol Spence and Leonard Bundu. Spence is ahead on my scorecard. I have him winning every single round, as Bundu has still not been able to be successful against Spence during the course of a full round. In spurts, yes, but during the course, overall body of work where you can maybe say give him a round, absolutely not. Spence digging to the body, and that seemed to hurt Bundu, as Bundu is kind of backpedaling now. Spence is isolating, and he connects with a powerful straight left right down the middle. Now Bundu gains some leverage in his legs and is trying to be the aggressor, but as he does that, Errol Spence stops him in his tracks with a precise shot to the body. And now Bundu with a couple of hooks that have caught Errol Spence. Spence trying to take out Leonard Bundu as he has him pretty much against the ropes. Spence with the jab, and then that is followed by a straight left down the pipe. Now Spence hasn't been in any imminent danger. And an uppercut, and down goes Bundu. Was that a push?
No knockdown.
That is not a knockdown. Johnny Callis is saying that was not a knockdown, but it appeared as if the punch led to Bundu being down. You wonder if Spence feels like Bundu is fading, and now Errol Spence is looking to close out Leonard Bundu. This is the Errol Spence show, but Bundu is a wounded animal, and he has got to be careful to Spence. But now Spence going to work, and he drops Bundu, and this one could be over. Oh my goodness! Bundu is done, and this one is over. Kell Brook, you have some company, as Errol Spence is now the mandatory #1 to his welterweight championship. He's a star. He's headlining here in New York. That's a way to close the show, as Errol Spence motioning the belt signal. That young man, the 26-year-old out of DeSoto, Texas, mark my words, will be a world champion very soon. Errol Spence landed 15 of 19 power shots. That is how he closed the show. Oh my goodness. Highlight reel, absolutely. Errol Spence, let's take a look at some of the work in that. He goes down. Referee in charge, Johnny Callis. And here, oh, what a shot. And Spence knew it. Here we see the right hand, the right hook, and Spence knew it immediately when he connected, and he says, the belt, the motion belt, I want that belt. Well, Errol, you're probably going to get that belt real soon, or you're going to be able to fight for it real soon.
Well, as Barry and Steve predicted from the Box Nation studios, Errol Spence Jr., a real talent to watch, and taking 6 rounds to become the first man to stop the brave 42-year-old warrior Leonard Bundu. As another unsuccessful tilt of the world title from his point of view. Lost every round on my card and finished in the 6th, and I guess he did pretty well to last that long when a little bit of pace was injected into the fight by the hugely expensive Errol Spence Jr., who has won all 21 of his fights now. we're going to wait for the official announcement from over there. In the meantime, as we do wait, and apologies if I do interrupt you, Barry Jones, your instant thoughts on that?
A typical Spence performance, very controlled, excellent, just a perfect display. Used that jab to break him up. Once he felt him wilting, he went in for the kill and got it. It was another top draw win. You
detected, Steve Lewis, a change in gears.
Yeah, he controlled the jab, the fight with his jab. Then in the 5th round, I thought he stepped it up a bit. Bundu looked a little bit tired as he went back at the end of the 5th round. 6th round, he stepped up even more and got the job done. A fantastic performance, and one fitting of someone who's being built as a superstar and a future world welterweight champion.
We will discuss the ramifications of that. We will discuss the possibilities of a fight with Kell Brook. We will also enlighten you as to the scenario that what might well happen if Kell Brook
round for your winner by knockout and still undefeated, Errol the Truth Spence Jr.
And the truth for the challenger.